Hi there, dear friends of mystery. As you know, shadows operate in different ways. But are they in our favor or against? I'm Mr. S, and today I will tell you a story, but it is not
a fairy tale.
Paula settled into the last car of the night train, the only one that seemed to have available seats. The night was dark, and the only light came from the flickering train lamps, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The young university student, exhausted after a long day of classes and work, sank into the seat and closed her eyes, seeking a moment of peace. As minutes passed, Paula began to notice something strange. The car was almost empty, with only a handful of passengers who seemed lost in their own worlds. An elderly man with a wide-brimmed hat read a yellowed newspaper. A weary-looking woman gently rocked her baby, and a young man with a vacant stare looked out the window. Suddenly, a sharp screech pierced the air, and the lights flickered, plunging the car into intermittent darkness. Paula's eyes flew open, and she looked around. No one else seemed to have noticed. The train was venturing deeper into rural areas, where city lights were just a distant memory. Paula stood up to change seats, trying to shake off the feeling of unease. As she passed by the elderly man, she noticed the newspaper he was reading was dated 1964. A chill ran down her spine, but she decided to ignore it. She sat near the window, watching the landscape whizzing by. That's when she noticed that the reflection in the windows showed more people than there actually were in the car. The train braked abruptly, and Paula saw a woman in an old morning dress standing in the aisle, staring directly at her. Paula tried to speak to her, but the woman vanished in the blink of an eye. Bewildered and increasingly frightened, Paula reached for her phone to send a message for help, but there was no signal. Hours passed, and the train continued its course without stopping at any station. Paula noticed the passengers began to act strangely, their faces blurring and their movements erratic. She tried talking to them, but her words fell into a void. Finally, Paula remembered an old story she had heard about a train that had derailed decades ago, taking the lives of all its passengers. She looked around and realized the horrifying truth. She was trapped in a time loop on the train of lost souls. The passengers were the spirits of those who had died in the accident, and she was one of them. Paula fell to her knees, accepting her fate. She knew her mission was to help the others find peace. With newfound determination, she stood up and began talking to each passenger, guiding them toward the light, a grim but necessary task. As she did, the train slowly began to fade, and the trapped souls found their way to eternal rest. Paula, now at peace, smiled one last time before disappearing with a train into the cold night. And so, the last car of the night train continued its journey into eternity, carrying the stories of those who never reached their destination, until a new soul boards the train.
Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Write if you felt identified with this story. And remember, next time you feel a chill in the night, it might be a whisper from the darkness. Until we meet again in the shadows, stay curious, stay safe, stay subscribed.
Goodbye.